Hi all, we're working on 5.3 congruence and transformations. Let's start out with this question here. This is a good one. It says, set up and solve equations to find the value of the variables. So when we're looking here, we see that triangle ABC is congruent to FED. Now you guys, we really need to know what corresponds to what. Fortunately, they already drew the double arc on F and A, so we can see clearly without even looking at the congruence statement that F and E correspond. Then it says B is congruent to E, so we know that this angle here, B, is congruent to E. I'll put a tick mark on these so that we can differentiate them from A and C and differentiate them from F and D. Okay. So we have those are congruent, and then finally angle C and angle D are congruent. Those are the last letter on the triangles. And of course, like I said earlier, they already put an arc there to indicate those correspond. So we can make statements. In other words, we can write an equation. An equation's like a statement. Without this equal sign, it doesn't make any sense. 31 plus 10 minus 6. That's like saying me and my friend and my other friend, and then you stopped your sentence. It doesn't make sense, right? That's not a statement. If you said me and my friend are going to do something, you're putting that equal sign. Today. 200, whatever. Does this make sense? We have to be able to make a statement. Okay, so the statement is this. Since angle B is congruent to angle E, we know that 129 is equal to 2y minus 3. Okay, that's the statement. Since we know that C is congruent to D, angle C is congruent to angle D, we can say that 1/2 of x plus 1 is the same as or equal to 31. Okay. If you get that, you get half of the problem correct. You're already deducing information that's important, and you're writing a statement based on it. That's very good. So let's start out with this one. Let's add 3 to both sides. Divide both sides by 2, and we find out that y equals 66. That makes sense. And then here, subtract 1 from both sides. I get 1/2 x equals 30. And a lot of people were thinking that x equals 15. They just went straight to that. But that doesn't really make sense. That's like saying this statement. 1/2 of 15 equals 30. Is that true? Is 1/2 of 15 equal 30? No, that's not true. 1/2 of 60 equals 30. And in case you can't think of it that way, that's okay. Just know, right here, x is being multiplied by 1/2. So what we need to do is multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 2 over 1. If we did it to that side, we need to do it to this side too. Multiply by 2 over 1. What's nice is, when you multiply the reciprocal, these cancel. You get 1x, which is just x. And here you get 30 times 2 over 1, which is 60 over 1, or just 60. Okay. And we're done. We found the variables. The value of the variables. If triangle DEF is congruent to triangle JKL, we know that DE is 18. We're given all these sides. So I think the easiest way to do this is to draw these triangles. They don't really give you any room. And since we are confronted with this adversity, I will deal with it by using just the letters. Okay. So I notice, let's see, DE. DE is 18. DE is the first 2 letters of the first triangle. So I'm going to look at the first 2 letters of the second triangle and see here, somewhere does it say JK, the first 2 letters. Oh, right here. So we know that 3y minus 21 is the same as 18. So right there you can write the equation. Again, you make this statement, you write this equation, so to speak, then you get half the points. You're halfway there. Okay, we got those out of the way. Let's see what else. We have EF. EF is 23, and EF is the second and third letter of the triangle. So let's look at the second and the third letter of the second triangle, KL. Do we have KL here? I don't see KL. So I'll leave that to the side for now, okay? I'll move on. Let's check out DF. DF is the first and last letter of the first triangle, so I'm going to look at the first and last letter of the second triangle. I'm looking for JL. Oh, here we go. Here's JL. So since DF and JL are exactly the same, we know that 9x minus 23 is equal to 7x minus 11. And then you guys should be able to solve these equations from here. Okay? You should be able to solve these equations from here. If you can't, please come into tutoring and get some help. Let's try this one. This one's a little bit tougher. If triangle QRS is congruent to triangle MNP, and then they give us all these measurements, then find the values of x and y. So let's kind of take the same technique as we did with the last one, since we don't have much room. But this one is pretty tough to do without drawing it. And I'll show you in a moment why. So let's look at QR, side length QR, first two letters of the first triangle. That goes with MN, the first two letters of the second triangle. Do we have MN here? You see MN, that's not MN. That's not MN. That's not MN. We don't have MN. Okay. Let's look at QS, first and last letter of the first triangle. So QS should go with MP. Do we have MP? We do have MP. So you know 15 is equal to 2x plus 1. Oh. Cool. Now let's check out angle S. It says angle S, and side note, I can solve this later when I need it. Okay, measure of angle S. So I'm looking here. Angle S is the third letter of the first triangle. What's the third letter of the second triangle? P. Do I have angle P? Shoot, I don't have angle P. So I'm going to move on to angle R. Angle R is 32. Angle R is the second letter of the first triangle, so I'm going to look at the second letter of the second triangle. N. Do I have the measure of angle N? Oof, I don't have the measure of angle N. This is getting tough. Yeah, now I have M. M is the first letter, and I don't have angle Q. So this is what we need to do. I know that they gave us angle S right here, and then they also gave us angle R right here. That's two angles of a triangle. If I have two angles of a triangle, I can find the third one. All I have to do is add these two numbers up, 84 and 32. That's 6, this is 11. So if I add those up, I get 116. So the remainder of the triangle should be 64. And that remaining angle is right here, angle Q. We haven't approached angle Q yet. So angle Q is 64 degrees. Okay, now that I have that, let's look. Which angle goes with angle Q? It's the first letter of the first triangle, so I'm going to look at the first letter of the second triangle, angle M. Do I have the measure of angle M? I do, right here. So I know that 17y minus 4 is equal to 64. And then I can solve that one. Okay. Get these out of the way so we can do this next problem. Alright, so they tell us that triangle PHS is congruent to triangle CNF. So once again, corresponding parts are congruent. All of them. The angles, the side lengths. And so if we need to find the value of x, y, and z, we can look at what corresponds with what. I know that angle P corresponds to angle C. So here's P, here's C. So I'm going to put a little arc here. Please practice this. This is going to help. And I'm just going to write the equation right away. I know that 36 is equal to 4z minus 32. Alright, now I'm going to look at the next one, angle H. Angle H is the second letter of the first triangle. So I'm going to look at the second letter of the second triangle. Boom, these go together. So once again, I'm going to do an arc. This time I'll do a double arc to differentiate from the first arc we did. Okay, those go together. So I know that 115 is equal to 6x minus 29. There's an equation I can solve right there. And then finally, angle F and angle S go together. Here's S, here's F. Okay, the problem here is I don't have the measure of angle S. Kind of need that to help me solve for the value of y. So I'll stop right there and I'll solve these, because if I solve these, I'll know the angle measures of the other triangle parts, okay? Well, actually I already do. Check it out. N goes with H, right? And if N is 115, then we know this is 115. If this is 36, and this is 115, then we can figure out this angle. So 115 plus 36, I get 79. I know that angle S is 79, and now I can write that final statement. 79 is equal to 3y minus 1. Yeah, 79 is equal to 3y minus 1. Okay, and then you guys know how to solve from here. Okay, you guys know how to solve from here. Let's see. I have, I think, just enough time to do this question. Okay, measure of angle A. Good practice here is to just write these in if you have the space. This is 52. Angle D is 15x minus 8y. F is 6x plus 14y. Set up and solve a system of equations. Okay, so this is 90 degrees, right? Angle B. Which means these two angles are complementary. They add up to 90. So if this one's 52, this one needs to be 38. So angle C is 38. I'll just write 38 right here. So since angle C goes with angle F, I can set up this equation. And then I have this angle here, which goes with this angle here, and we can double check that here. Angle A goes with angle D. Good. So I can set up this equation here. 52 is equal to 15x minus 8y. And 30 seconds is not enough time for me to solve this, so this is a good opportunity for you to practice it. Okay, and then check the key when you're done. Check the key when you're done and see if you got it right. If you didn't, just amend it, fix it, and then, that's good practice. Get better at solving systems of equations.